Hello everyone. Now, originally I was actually planning on making a Shikishima commentary. But I ended up making a Nevsky one instead because I strongly suspect that the Shikishima dispersion is just straight up bugged. Based on the data mines and the values, the dispersion should be very good, but upon playing the ship it has been incredibly underwhelming and honestly just pure trash. So it makes me suspicious that the dispersion isn't exactly doing what Wargaming wants it to do. The performance has been very underwhelming. So instead, I'm featuring the Alexander Nevsky, a ship that we had in test, but it's been removed since. And what made me want to feature this ship is that in the recent devlog, recently, it was about a week ago, in the same devlog that they basically nerfed Petropavlovsk, this shell dispersion, and they also nerfed Ägir secondaries. They buffed the Sigma on this thing from 2.0 to 2.05. So very small buff, but what's more important than the change is the message it sends. They are obviously quite happy with the performance of the ship. They are pleased with where it stands, and they're basically tweaking it a slight bit, improving it a slight bit, because, well, the performance isn't quite where they would like it to be. And I consider this honestly baffling, because, well, I already featured this Nevsky thing, and I thought it was quite overtuned, and I did expect them to tune it down a bit. It's 180mm gun cruiser, but of course it's Russian guns, so what this means is that, well, the shell velocity is honestly closer to Moskva than any other ship. The shell velocity is, as you can probably see from the portraits I'm taking, absolutely fantastic, and the AP penetration is better than Des Moines at all ranges, significantly better at long range. So the AP is very usable on basically almost all broadsides, especially cruiser broadsides. In fact, the Nevsky has what, 170 or 170mm pen at 20 kilometers with these 180mm guns. So you can citadel basically any cruiser across the map. And the base range is 19, and I thought this was a pretty interesting game to feature, because, well, you see that Yamato there, you're gonna see him take a lot of pot shots at me. That's Euro in the Yamato. And the map is Ocean, which is of course infamously poor for cruisers, because you don't really have any cover. You're forced to sail around in the open, and, well, battleships of course love this when there's someone to take pot shots at. And there is a carrier to add in spotting as well. So in terms of a testbed, this is probably one of the worst experiences a cruiser can imagine. I won't go over too much of the Nevsky stats, I've already gone over them. I think it's quite tanky, and of course I think the gun performance is just excellent across the board. So the choice to look at some other ships like the Ägir and consider it overpowered, but then you look at this and consider it underpowered, or, well, not pretty close to where they wanted, but not quite there. It is to me very baffling, because, well, the 12 km radar provides huge utility. The firing angles are quite good. The tanking is exceptional, and of course you can just run in, radar stuff, take pot shots, switch to a other target, 19 km Kurfürst. He's literally 19 kilometers away, and my shell travel time is less than 10 seconds. So the gun performance is just excellent. Just absolute god tier. Some pot shots being taken at me. I'm not sure if it's Des Moines or is it the Yamato. A fair bit of ships aiming at me, but I am angled quite well, so I'm just going to continue farming this Kurfürst. I think I was running IFHE in this build, so fire chance is not that good, but of course the penetration will be quite excellent, but shooting a Kurfürst, well, that will always quite heavily gimp it. AA range is great as well, and the AA performance has been very satisfactory on this ship. I think the biggest downside of this ship was poorer handling than most other light cruisers. It's been a while since I played it. It's more the fact that I wanted to feature this game because it's so baffling to me that, especially from my own perspective, because I never thought the Ägir was that good, and it was nerfed heavily. and I always thought the Nevsky was performing, and it received some buffs. Questionable. Regardless, I started fire on the nose in Codeforce. I'm maintaining my angling. Mostly, I don't want to be taking pot shots from somewhere from the center. And the firing angles, I mean, look at the bottom left. You can see how angled my ship is. The firing angles are excellent, so I'm easily able to angle away from most big threats. And I'm just going to keep farming this Codeforce as much as I can. And he does get taken out, which is good because we were down 1 kill so far. Kaba pushes in. Of course, Kaba's 50mm plate is very effective against me, and this is before the Sigma buff, so the dispersion will get very slightly better, but honestly 0.5 Sigma isn't really that noticeable, so the difference will be very minimal. It's more the fact that what you see now isn't the final is going to be slightly better. Carrier comes in, I pop defensive AA, set the sector, trying to help my Östergötland so it doesn't get blapped. Getting a few hits in on that DD. Reversing in so I can blap the plane so he doesn't get the farm too free. Friesland is slowing down, but of course, as mentioned, 12k in radar. So I have 35 seconds with the mod, or is it even 36 seconds with the mod? So I already know that these guys are in some serious trouble having pushed up this far, especially since the enemy team is playing so far back. We are down 4 ships though, and they have only lost 1, which was the Gross Corpus that I found earlier, so this is going to be a bit of an uphill climb to recover from. However, I do almost take out the Friesland. That volley should finish him, and I switch to the Kagero right after, since he's also caught in the radar. He runs out of the smoke, it's about 3k damage. Second volley is in the air, trying to finish him off, but I don't think I take quite enough lead, and it appears that he will be able to disengage. Still, we got a kill back, and this also means that the Öland will probably be able to secure at least one objective without fear, at least hoping the carrier doesn't blap him. Having some issues hitting the Kaba, but more importantly I do want to disengage briefly. I don't want to be sitting stationary too long, because down south the Des Moines and the Edinburgh are pushing up, and if they get close enough they can become an issue. The ship is fast though, so I don't really have too many fears of being caught in this thing. It's a very fast cruiser, like most Soviet cruisers, so disengaging from them is easy. I'm not taking enough lead to hit the Kaba. He is fast, but at 15 kilometers hitting a Kaba isn't exactly easy either. I decide to stop shooting. No, just gonna lob AP at the Edinburgh. I did mention that you have fantastic AP penetration. I just need to be leading more. Checking with torpedoes just how fast is this guy going. He's still going full speed. Oh, and he's actually disengaging. I did mention that the AP penetration is excellent, so as long as my aim is correct, I should be able to citadel him, but he probably realizes the threat and he disengages before I manage to lock in my aim at the right prediction. Des Moines starts taking shots at me instead, so I switch to HE. I would be more worried about him if it wasn't for the fact that I had more support. But also at 13 kilometers, whereas a Des Moines will kind of struggle to land shells on a fast ship like this, I don't really have any issues of turning around and kiting away from him. He struggles to catch up with me. I'm doing 30 knots while turning out, and once again I'm just going to angle away and start hammering him with that IFHE HE. He's now stuck in a poor position nose in. I think he's going to try to disengage. The Thunder is hopefully going to become a huge threat to him with that huge AP. And there in fact we see the AP coming in, and he's down to 9k, and it looks like he's already reversing. At this point I'm basically just ignoring the Edinburgh, who is farming me, but I have so much health, and I know he can't citadel me, and I know I'll be able to recover the health later with a heal, so I'm kind of just willing to tank it just to get rid of this Des Moines, because with the Des Moines dead, my DD should also be able to camp A, and in fact then I can start bullying the Edinburgh much harder, because we get some map control. In the meantime though, in the north, more members of my team has died, and only half my team is alive at this point, so we are still down a fair bit. I switch to AP, but the Edinburgh once again angles away and starts fleeing. Smart choice. You really don't want to be fighting the Nevsky, especially not in an Edinburgh. Carrier goes in for the drop. I'm gonna see if maybe he turns into the torpedoes, or is it just gonna keep kiting straight away? Oh, looks like he is turning in. How's our lead? A bit high on that first volley. Once again, only a 10. He does hit one torpedo, but he angles away, and he's gonna keep running. And if he does stop shooting, I'm gonna struggle to get any hits in on him. At this point, he does smoke up. I do want to hunt him down, but there is a bit of a threat of the Kutuzov and Euro and the Yamato starting to push up center because they've killed off so many members from my team. So at this point, it's time to stop shooting and go undetected. The concealment on this thing is 12.8, which is very much in the heavy cruiser line, but on a huge map like this, and where I know how good all Ägir is dead, I should have no issues. I turn out, instantly switch my guns to the Kutuzov. He angles in as soon as he sees it. I'm expecting the Yamato to take pot shots at me, so I'm already starting to angle away from any incoming AP. Kutuzov makes the surprising idea of giving me a broadside, probably underestimating my AP, so I instantly delete him. Euro's AP does do some chunk damage, so I just start angling away, switching to HE because he is fairly angled, and it's time to start farming him as well. The ship is agile. Well, it's fast more than anything. I wouldn't say agile, but it's fast. And the great gun performance means that you can use HE or AP on any target within 19 kilometers. The great ballistics also means that you don't really have too many issues hitting them, except for the really obvious culprits like Marceau and Kleber, and even Kaba at long ranges. At this point, the Yamato keeps farming me, but I'm more occupied with making sure the Kaba doesn't just pick up a free cap, but instead I get some resets. However, his 50mm plating is working wonders for him, and he gets fairly lucky eating a full volley on that 50mm plate, which of course means I deal no damage whatsoever. I do force him to disengage and force him to play more safe, and when that happens we switch back to the Yamato. HE spam on the nose in Yamato. We're still down a fair bit on points. We're down to 5 ships against 7. Well, we're up on points, but oh, never mind. Now we're down 4 ships against 7. And the Kaga seems to be pretty overextended in the corner as well. Our Yamato seems to be alone, so we're in some serious trouble here. But I think the Yamato has decided that he really wants to kill me, and he's committing to this push. And this is of course a mistake. And I will be more than happy to punish this mistake, because at this range he will struggle to hit me, but a big large ship like the Yamato is pretty easy to farm. So we're just going to be farming HE and kiting. In fact, at this point I stop because he started turning out. I don't want to accidentally lose out on this kill, and I've started reversing. I see the Shimakaze closing in on me on the minimap, and he is in fact smoking. So we're just going to reverse straight into that Shimakaze smoke and use it to pick up this kill. Makes life easier and much safer. Team play is very uncommon in random battles, and it's actually pretty nice to see this. I did give him a compliment because this is such a rare thing to see. DD smoking up cruisers and trying to win the game. He does get one good hit in on me, but I still have over 10,000 health, and at this point he doesn't really have much in ways of killing me, and I finish him off. Edinburgh, trying to contest, I switch to AP. He turns in, he's within radar range, so I know he cannot disengage. I thought he was going to turn away, or turn nose in, but he actually gives broadside again, so we switch to AP and we put the heal just in case. Giving full broadside to Nevsky at this range is obviously a very poor choice, and 19k AP citadels plus a follow-up volley with another citadel deletes the Edinburgh. So we're up from a 4 versus 7 to a 4 versus 4. Kaba has managed to cap the B in meantime, because I haven't been able to harass him and reset the camp. I'm landing a bit short on those volleys. Kaba is very fast. This is probably has a lot to do with me not having fought Kabas in a while. Honestly, that ship is very rare. You really don't see it much these days. I tend to always underestimate the amount of lead I need to take. Meanwhile, in the north, my Yamato does go down, so we're once again down on kills. We are down to 3 versus 4. We do, however, have the cap advantage. The smoke finally runs out, so I'm going to be forced to leave my smoke. Rocket planes are chasing the Shima. The Shima has played it safe and gone down south. So I think the rocket planes are gonna commit to me instead. Pop defensive AA, reinforce the sector. I've eaten a bit of HE spam, but Nevsky AA is still quite strong and it also has that really good range on the AA. But he will probably get one strike in and then lose the rest of his planes as he disengages. I actually don't know how much AA I've lost at this point. It was a while since I played this game. It was back when we had these test chips. Still, it doesn't matter. The amazing range allows me to seamlessly switch to the Conqueror up north, pushing into sea. And of course, with an IFHE, I can easily pen his 32mm plating, provided I don't hit the Citadel belt or any of his turrets. I start one fire, and honestly then it's just farming time. The carrier is also harassing him, but there is no way this Conqueror is going to be able to pick up this cap. And it looks like the carrier... Oh, the carrier does in fact pick up the kill. And we're down to 3 versus 3. Mashima has decided to push into B. Bit of a bold choice. But the carrier is there to harass him, as is the Kaba. So I turn in and I try to go and help him. This is the guy who smoked me up, so obviously I do want to return the favor. Team play is rare, and if he gives me team play, I'm more than happy to try to provide some right back at him. Push in, reinforce the sector, just to try to shoot down these planes, and more importantly, give vision of these planes. It's important when you're smoked up that you don't get randomly dropped by a carrier without seeing where the planes are. So just pushing up to give him vision of where the planes are lets him dodge them much easier. I ping to provide cover, hoping my carrier will leave him a fighter plane, and he does say Wilco, so the Shima might get a fighter plane. I push in and pop a radar to make sure the Kaba isn't doing some shenanigans like rushing him, which is exactly what the Kaba was trying. And with the help of the radar and now even the Shima chiming in, this Kaba has absolutely no chance of making this YOLO work. Shima opens up thanks to my vision, and even the carrier is chiming in. And at this range, even though he is fast, he won't be able to dodge it. I pop defensive AA and set the reinforced sector, because the carrier is trying to rocket plane my Shima in the smoke, and I'm once again trying to deny him any chance of harassing the guy who helped me. I kill off the Kaba, and there was a chance to go and kill off the Shokaku as well, but sadly the game ended before I could. Match over. 198,000 damage. 21 planes shot down, 5 kills, would have been a Kraken, 11 fires, 6 citadels, and of course a bunch of defended caps, because I was defending kind of the south side of the map. Team score wise, we are talking 3,200 base XP in a cruiser on ocean. The Alexander Nevsky is in my book a fantastic cruiser. Just overall fantastic. Probably even a bit overtuned. I'm not sure why it needs... It has a lot of things going for it. And because of the health pool, it also trades so well with other cruisers. And because of the incredible AP, you don't really dare to give broadside to it at almost any range. You saw what happened to the Edinburgh, that fantastic AP performance. The ship is too strong in my book. It's just... it fulfills the role of the classic kiting HE spammer heavy cruiser, except it also has radar and torpedoes, and it's just superbly strong. If anything, I expected this to be one of the ships that were going to be tuned down, but this is in fact a ship that is going to get a minor buff. Once again, very minor buff. I do want to highlight 0.05 Sigma is basically fuck all. But it's more the message that change is sending, that yeah, we're pretty happy where the ship is right now. We just want to fine tune it, make it a bit stronger, and then we're happy. And that is very worrying, because the Petropavlovsk is looking monstrous. The Riga is looking very, very good. The Nevsky is looking fantastic as well, and I do have to wonder if they aren't going a bit too crazy with giving all the candies to the Russian lineups. Detailed report wise, well, not too many fires. This was IFHE build, 11 fires, 30k, not that much. HE 121k, about 47k AP. I did tank about 67,000, but of course the potential damage 2.5 million on ocean in a cruiser. This thing is very, very hard to take down. It is insanely sturdy. 51k health on a cruiser this fast, with radar, with the AA, with all the goodies. I'd be very surprised if this ship was released and we wouldn't see it being played on, for example, some sort of flanks in competitive and such, because it just brings so much to the table. God forbid if they're gonna, but okay, right now competitive is a complete mess because they allowed carriers, so we're not even gonna get into that. Overall, Nevsky in its current state, so if the ship actually goes down and goes through in its current state, I will obviously highly recommend grinding this ship. It is very fun to play, very tanky. If I remember correctly, it had that icebreaker below as well, so you can YOLO battleships and even Yamato with that thing. AP performance is excellent. HE shell velocity is also excellent, which means you can farm any ship at 19km range. DPM is good, AA is great. The only thing it has was, if I remember correctly, poor handling and a above borderline citadel. I have to say I'm a bit disappointed, but hey, what can you do? As always, thank you for watching. I hope you guys drop a sub to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Tomorrow on stream, I'm going to be testing the submarines, so that should be quite spicy. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.